Is your business at risk? Enterprise BYOD is becoming more common. It's otherwise known as bring your own device. By the end of this year, Gartner predicts half of all employers will require workers to supply their own device. This will cut costs and improve employee satisfaction. But will it? If your data is breached, you could have a big mess on your hands. If you know me, security is a top concern, and we talk about it all the time here at Construct Tech Magazine. And having workers use their own devices puts your data at risk, and it puts your company at risk. Now, I'm not naive. BYOD is here, and we all know it. Employees bring all their devices to work every day, and it's clearly going to be here for a very long time, and it offers some very good opportunities. But I'm suggesting you need to proceed with caution. So today I thought it would be a really great idea if we did something a little unique, and I want to give you some of my tips for what you need to consider for BYOD. So first, I want you to think about creating a policy. Employees need to follow a certain set of rules. So let's start with be specific. Your BYOD policy should include some type of devices, security of the data, experience for the user, and management of the corporate information. So next, I want you to think about putting someone in charge. I know it's very hard, but you need to think about making sure someone on your team is responsible for overseeing all of the policies that you put in place. They can also manage and support the security and the data plans that you have. They need to enforce the rules. Now, sometimes this is very tricky because this individual needs to be responsible for dictating to all of the team members. That's very, very important to think about. Now, third, I think you need to think about this next one, and it's probably the most important. It's about education. Make sure you educate and train all of your employees. Just like everything else you do at the job site, education is probably one of the most important steps. Warn everyone about risky Wi-Fi networks and downloading third-party apps, because everybody always does it all the time. They download all these third-party apps. Encourage team members to back up their personal data in case a device needs to be remotely wiped for security purposes. Better yet, separate the data altogether. That's probably your best tip of all. So this next tip for you today is device management and provisioning is what I should say. And there are a lot of ways to do this. First, consider this dual persona or mobile app management. I always encourage companies to think about this because this provisioning and maintenance of two separate end user environments on a single device is pretty easy in some ways. And I agree there's a lot of different separations here, but it's a good option for someone that wants to take that extra step. As you know, you think about it, good fences make good neighbors. I bet Robert Frost wasn't thinking about BYOD when he wrote those words, but it certainly does apply when creating best practices for managing data and mobile devices. Similarly, sandboxing is another good option for separating data. This is when application is running on an isolation on a device. And these are only two examples, and there's so many others when you think about it. And I think my next tip I want you to think about is strategies for security. I know a lot of companies don't want to think about this, but you need to answer a lot of these questions that I'm going to pose to you right now. How are you handling licensing? Are there special tools added to the device? How are you going to support them? Do you have mobile virtualization for your company? Have you even thought about it? What are your practices for your device if it even gets hacked, or if your company deals with a hacker? These are important questions you need to consider. Also, don't rely on your employees to create strong passwords, because we all know that could be a problem. Set up multi-factor authentication to enhance your security. It's really important, and require that they use security software all the time. You might even consider location tracking software. I know employees aren't thrilled about that. Finally, I want to leave you with this one final thought. Who owns the data? Clearly, identifying and answering all this up front can help eliminate legal issues in the future. After all, good fences make good neighbors. That's our top tips for today.